So then the Gauteng Department of Education's online registration system is set to be reviewed. MEC Panyaza Lesufi, we've been reading, has said that this will be done with the intention to attend to all concerns raised recently by parents. Let's take this further with Yone van der Merwe. She's the Legal Services Manager at the Federation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools. Yone, a very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. Has the online application system, especially for grades 1 and 8, has it been incredibly helpful?
Definitely say we're moving in the right direction with an online admission system. But I have to say, looking at the problems that we are facing in Gauteng, I don't think the system is the problem. We're actually facing much greater problems in Gauteng with the admissions currently, which a online admission system is definitely not going to resolve. So in short, if I can just say the capacity, there's not sufficient capacity for all of the learners in Gauteng, and that's the greater problem than the online admission system that we currently have in the province.
So as the Gauteng Education Department then prepares for this review, what in your mind as FETSAS would be the improvements that need to be made in line with what you're saying, that there's a bigger holistic issue that needs to be addressed ultimately?
Well, for sure, one would expect of the department to definitely review the admission system at least once a year to sort out the systemic problems like parents not being able to submit documents or so on. But the greater problem is for the MEC to rather consider the infrastructural problems in the province, to consider where do we have the capacity shortages, to rather focus on that plan, to review that plan, and then to address those problems. Because parents are complaining due to the fact that their children is not being placed at the school. And that problem is not due to the online system. And an online system is not going to build our schools. That's a plan that the MEC must, in terms of the Schools Act, attend to. And the MEC must also every year report to the minister as well on the progress being made according to that plan. So definitely is to start building infrastructure in the province rather than just focusing on the online system.
And taking it beyond grade 1 and 8 has been something that people have said should be applied. And I think now, to my mind, thinking about the coverage of this issue, placement in Gauteng, we talk a lot about grade 1 and 8, but there's also the issue of other grades as well, the in-betweens, where pupils there are also not necessarily placed by the first day of school, and that, I would imagine, is much more difficult to track precisely because there isn't an online paper trail, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's also where the planning should start to take place within Gauteng. They should look at historic data to see what the inflow from other provinces is into the current Gauteng schooling system, rather than now having to run around and trying to find enough and sufficient places in our schools for those learners. I think it's important to start and look at historic data to see how do we plan from here on out we're going forward. How do we address those problems looking at the other grades as well, not just limiting it to the data of our grade 1s and our grade 8 learners.
So the Gauteng Education Department confirmed last night that all pupils then for grades 1 and 8 with up-to-date information have now been placed, but schools reopened on the 12th of January. Yesterday was, what, the 28th? Is that an acceptable delay in placement?
Well, for sure not, especially considering all of the teaching time we've lost throughout the past 2 years with COVID being a problem as well. And I think this problem was mainly caused due to the fact that parents could only apply as late as August and September last year for placements in schools this year. And I have to say as well, there were a lot of parents who only applied for admission at a very late stage this year. So that problem is not only due to the fault of the Gauteng department, but part of the fault lies with the parents as well. But we're definitely hoping to see that the admissions, the start of the admissions this year would take place a lot earlier than it did take place last year, so we can sort out those issues before school starts next year.
Just on the point you were just making about the role of parents in some of the issues to do with the registration and placement of pupils in Gauteng, not only is there often a late application crisis in Gauteng, you also have a situation where with the grades 1 and 8, you've got parents who apply late, but then still want to fight for the children to be placed at a school of their choice, even though seats there have already been taken up.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one thing that we hope to see can be addressed through better advocacy by the department side to really bring home the urgency of the matter at parents as well, to currently inform them of the fact that they have to apply for admission as soon as possible. With parents applying as late as only this year for admission for places in schools this year. I mean, and that's something that I think, you know, you as a parent also have an obligation to see to it that your child receives education. The Schools Act is also very clear on that you as a parent have an obligation to see to it that your child attend to school. So perhaps we should start looking at a way to address those parents and to hold those parents accountable for their actions by only applying so very late in the year for admissions.
Yone, so good to speak to you. Yone van der Merwe is the Legal Services Manager at FETSAS, that's the Federation of South African School Governing Bodies. Good to have your time. Thank you.